That it is time for the protesters to end their occupation. He made that call during the launch of his think tank, Our Hong Kong Foundation. Owen Fung reports.
In his opening speech, Tung identified political reform as one of the most pressing challenges Hong Kong currently faces. The ongoing Occupy movement, Tung said, has damaged the local economy and undermined the city's rule of law. The former chief executive stated that it's time for the occupation to end, while warning that if political reform fails to be implemented, it could be detrimental to Hong Kong. Tung called on the students to come up with a more constructive solution, such as working with the government to find a way out of the crisis. But he denied his think tank will be playing the role of an intermediary.
The students and the government has established an avenue of communication. So I would expect that our role is not in being an intermediary, because the mission of the foundation is I think you've read it. It's not playing such a political role as such.
Aside from political reform, Tung said his think tank will also strive to foster social mobility for young people and to cultivate individuals to enter politics. And in response to some suggestions that the think tank is a platform to prepare future chief executive candidates, Tung stressed that the focus of it is on Hong Kong's long-term development rather than who will become the city's next leader. A forum was held after the unveiling ceremony, and among those who delivered speeches was former Financial Secretary Anthony Leung, who is also an advisor to the think tank. Leung cited high property prices as one of the reasons for young people to take to the streets and join protests. The former financial secretary proposed a number of solutions to facilitate young people to gain a foothold in the property market. Leung also proposed the setting up of a fund to assist the city's youngsters in achieving upward mobility through entrepreneurship. And on political reform, Leung said effective governance is the central government's foremost concern. He also called on young people to give their support for universal suffrage in 2017. Owen Fung, TVB News.
President Xi Jinping and Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe sat down for a face-to-face meeting in Beijing today amid frosty relations between the two countries. The ice-breaking session was aimed at dialing down long-running tensions ahead of the 21-member Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit tomorrow. James Aiken has more on efforts to rebuild trust between Asia's two biggest economies.
Ever-complicated relations between China and Japan have recently seen tensions escalate over history and territory. So a lot of hope was riding on the first meeting between the two countries' leaders since they took office. China's foreign ministry said that President Xi Jinping urged Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe to do more to help build trust between Japan and its neighbors and help safeguard the region's peace and stability. Abe called the meeting a first step towards repairing frayed bilateral ties. He said that the peaceful development of China is an opportunity for Japan. Abe also said the two sides agreed to start preparation for a maritime crisis mechanism. They have agreed to improve ties and are signaling a willingness to set aside for now differences over hot-button issues. Relations between China and Japan have grown increasingly strained over maritime territorial claims, a move by Japan to reinterpret its pacifist constitution, and Tokyo's perceived insensitivity to its wartime history. Meanwhile, U.S. President Barack Obama touched down in Beijing today on the first leg of an 8-day Asia tour. Washington is pushing a free trade agreement in the Asia-Pacific known as the Trans-Pacific Partnership, for which Obama says he sees momentum building. But the TPP does not include China, which is promoting a separate trade liberalization framework called the Free Trade Area of the Asia-Pacific. Also today, Obama announced a new streamlined visa agreement between the two countries.
Under the current arrangement, visas between our two countries last for only 1 year. Under the new arrangement, student and exchange visas will be extended to 5 years. Business and tourist visas will be extended to 10 years.
On Tuesday, Obama is expected to press Xi over increasingly assertive territorial behavior and cybersecurity. But his administration is also hoping for improved cooperation with China on regional and global problems. James Aiken, TVB News.
And U.S. President Obama says his priority when it comes to pro-democracy protests in Hong Kong is to ensure violence is avoided. Obama made the remarks on the first day of his visit to Beijing for the APEC summit. He noted China's relationship with Hong Kong has historically been complicated. Obama said China isn't in the same place as the U.S. when it comes to development, but he says it would be unrealistic for the U.S. to set aside its concerns about human rights. Obama says the U.S. doesn't expect China to follow the U.S. model in all circumstances.
A 29-year-old British man charged with the murder of 2 women in Wan Chai made his second court appearance today at the Eastern Magistracy. The prosecution pointed out that the defendant, Rorik Judding, refused to cooperate with police in a reconstruction of the crimes, but the investigation will continue. The case has been adjourned until November 24th, pending psychiatric tests to determine whether the defendant is fit to stand trial.
2 captains involved in the Lama ferry tragedy, which resulted in the deaths of 39 people, have pleaded not guilty to manslaughter. In addition to 39 counts of manslaughter, the defendants, Captain Chao Chi Wai of the Lama 4 and Lai Sai Ming, captain of the Sea Smooth, were also charged with endangering the safety of others. Both captains were accused of neglect by not keeping a close watch on the situation at sea. The tragedy happened 2 years ago on October 1st, when the 2 vessels collided with one another. The trial is expected to last for 60 days.
And still ahead in our newscast, celebrations on the 25th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. In Mexico, protesters set fire to the door of the presidential palace. And in Egypt, the reopening of a landmark to visitors.
It's one of the hottest nutrition debates.
The combination of fat and sugar is completely different than either macronutrient alone.
And what this does is it fundamentally interferes with our mechanisms of self-regulation and reward.
Tonight, well-being, sugar versus fat, at 9:30 on Pearl.
Direct Asia, best price guaranteed on car insurance. That's a wrap. DirectAsia.com, best price guaranteed on car insurance. Easy.
每粒紐崔萊多寶營養片都係一個品質承諾。透過指紋圖譜技術鎖定營養精華，呢個就係營養豐富嘅紐崔萊多寶營養片。
Get ready for a new page in motorsport history. Welcome to Asia's most legendary race. This November, experience the Sun City Group 61st Macau Grand Prix.
傷風感冒好返，龍痰仲未清。
幸福為你行多步，
食幸福化痰素，特有怪菲尼仙，
稀釋龍痰，啲痰鬆晒，先易啲咳出嚟㗎。幸福為你行多步。
The time now is 7:45. The time check was brought to you by Seiko.
Welcome back. We head to Berlin, where more than 1 million Germans and people from around the world gathered to celebrate the 25th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall.
European leaders old and new attended the 25th anniversary of the fall of the Berlin Wall. Among the distinguished guests was former Soviet leader Mikhail Gorbachev, who